When we read the Bible, we often see it through a lens of theology, abstract concepts, doctrines, and future hopes. But what if we've been missing something deeper, more practical, more immediate? What if the Bible, in talking about salvation, isn't simply offering us comforting promises about the afterlife, but instead teaching us step by step how to achieve an ideal psychological state, how to be whole, coherent, balanced, and fulfilled in the present? Think about salvation not as an abstract promise or doctrine, but as a state of mind, one that emerges when various parts of our inner life align perfectly. Just like a healthy body emerges from balanced diet, exercise, and rest, a healthy mind emerges from balanced relationships between our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The Bible remarkably gives us these profound insights, not in abstract theory, but through vivid stories and relatable experiences that show exactly how such a state emerges and what happens when it breaks down. Let's take a closer look at some powerful examples from Scripture itself and uncover how each one illustrates a critical element in this ideal psychological state. Consider first the idea of reinforcement, beautifully expressed by Paul in Romans when he tells us, suffering produces perseverance, perseverance produces character, and character, hope, and hope does not disappoint. What is he describing if not a cycle where our experiences build upon each other, reinforcing our inner strength? Paul isn't just talking about beliefs. He's describing how we stabilize our own minds, how we create a coherent sense of inner strength and resilience that sustains itself over time. This isn't mere theory, it's practical wisdom on becoming psychologically healthy, deeply hopeful and stable through life's struggles. Or look at the famous Psalm 51, where David, after terrible failure, retraces the steps that led him away from peace. David isn't just repenting abstractly, he's diagnosing himself, showing us a psychological roadmap that lets us understand exactly where our peace of mind breaks down. The lesson here is deeply practical. A healthy mind must have clarity about its mistakes and losses, because understanding our disintegration is the first step back to psychological harmony. We see another powerful illustration in the idea of integration. Jesus taught his followers, "Abide in me and I in you. Apart from me, you can do nothing." Notice that he's describing a psychological truth. True inner stability and peace emerge only when all aspects of our lives, inner beliefs, outer actions, and our sense of belonging fully align. Disconnect any of these parts and your peace will collapse. Jesus isn't merely asking for belief, he's urging us toward complete psychological coherence and integrity. Likewise, Paul's extraordinary transformation on the Damascus Road shows us that psychological shifts can be sudden and profound, a complete phase change from one way of seeing to another. Paul's moment of clarity and humility flipped his entire worldview. It teaches us that we too might experience psychological breakthroughs, radical insights that reorder our entire inner world. The Bible doesn't just promise salvation, it shows us the dramatic psychological power of sudden clarity and new perspective. And consider the profound harmony described by Paul in Philippians. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds. Notice Paul isn't merely promising future reward. He's describing an emotional and intellectual resonance we can experience right now. It's about having thoughts, feelings, and actions resonate perfectly together, creating a harmony we experience as peace and fulfillment. It's not theory, it's practical, experiential, achievable. So what is the Bible really teaching about salvation? It's showing us vividly that salvation isn't just an abstract theological promise for the afterlife. It's a practical psychological blueprint for achieving an optimal mental state here and now. It guides us toward coherence, harmony, self-awareness, and resilience. The stories, parables, and wisdom of Scripture, from David's introspective prayers to Paul's moments of radical clarity, are all powerful models and guides showing us exactly how our inner world can transform from confusion, anxiety, and fragmentation into wholeness, stability, and deep inner peace. Friends, we've spent too long letting the concept of salvation remain an abstract comfort or distant hope. Today we have a chance to see salvation as something far more immediate, far more practical, far more compelling. It's an invitation to psychological wholeness and fulfillment available to us now, right where we stand in the midst of everyday life. I invite you, as you revisit the scriptures, to see their lessons on salvation, not as theological abstractions, but as deeply practical instructions, powerful insights into your own mental health and psychological thriving. Let these ancient teachings guide you toward your best possible life, one filled with harmony, balance, resilience, purpose, and profound inner peace. This perhaps was the real gift the biblical authors intended all along, not a distant promise, but an immediate transformative guide toward becoming our healthiest, most integrated, most fully alive selves, right here, right now.